Part 4. Living in the Present, Mindfulness in Every Moment. For point 1. The meaning of mindfulness and awareness according to Zen. Mindfulness and awareness are central concepts in Zen philosophy and essential tools that help people live fully in every present moment. In today's fast-paced and stressful life, maintaining a state of mindfulness helps us avoid being swept away by hurried thoughts and worries about the past or future, thereby creating peace and clarity in each moment of presence. Awareness in Zen is not merely ordinary attention or recognition, but an expansive and profound consciousness of what is happening in the mind, body, and surrounding environment. It requires complete, undistracted focus while maintaining a non-judgmental, non-attached observational stance. In this state, every moment becomes complete and meaningful, helping us connect more deeply with ourselves and the world. Mindfulness in the Zen tradition is often practiced through meditation methods such as seated meditation, zazen, walking meditation, or contemplation. The goal of these practices is to master the mind, preventing chaotic thoughts, unstable emotions, or worries from disturbing inner peace. From this, we are no longer controlled by external influences, but maintain stillness and clarity in all circumstances. The deeper significance of mindfulness and awareness in Zen also lies in recognizing impermanence and no-self. When aware, and profound wisdom in daily life, applying mindfulness helps us appreciate even the smallest actions such as eating, walking, communicating, or working. When we perform tasks mindfully, our mind is fully focused, productivity increases, and our spirit feels more relaxed. Instead of living by habit or being controlled by bad tendencies, we choose to live actively and consciously. Additionally, mindfulness helps develop empathy and understanding toward others. When fully present in each encounter, we listen not only with our ears but also with our hearts, recognizing others' pain, joy, and needs. This contributes to building deeper and more sincere relationships. We must also mention mindfulness's role in reducing stress, tension, and mental health issues in modern society. Scientific studies have shown that regular mindfulness practice improves mental health, enhances concentration, and reduces anxiety and depression symptoms. However, understanding and practicing true mindfulness is not easy. It requires persistence, consistent practice, and a humble, open attitude toward oneself. Day by day, each of us can gradually expand our awareness capacity, from small moments of presence to a sustained state of mindful living rooted deeply in the soul. In summary, the meaning of mindfulness and awareness in Zen is not just a simple meditation technique, but a way of life, a path leading to inner freedom, true happiness, and profound wisdom. By living fully in each moment with peaceful and clear awareness, we take steady steps on the journey of the awakened person, transforming life from a meaningless routine into rich and deeply meaningful experiences. 4.2. Zen Story: The Guest and the Surprising Cup of Tea. In a small village in rural Japan, there was a Zen master renowned for his calm demeanor and profound wisdom. One day, a Western visitor named Michael came to visit the monastery, hoping to find peace amidst the hectic pace of modern life in New York City. Michael was a successful businessman, but constantly felt overwhelmed and stressed by the relentless pressure of work. When Michael arrived, the Zen master warmly welcomed him and invited him to sit down and enjoy a cup of hot tea. Inside the monastery, the atmosphere was serene, with the subtle aroma of tea and the gentle sound of water flowing from an old wooden spout. Michael sat across from the master, eager yet uncertain about what he might learn from this quiet teacher. The Zen master began pouring tea into Michael's cup. Even when the cup was full to the brim, the master kept pouring, causing the tea to spill over the sides onto the table. Michael could no longer hold back and said, "Master, the cup is already full. Please stop pouring, or the tea will spill everywhere." The Zen master smiled and said, "You are like this cup. Your mind is already filled with worries, thoughts, and old ideas. If you don't know how to let go and create space, how can you receive anything new, from life or from Zen wisdom?" Michael was struck silent. The master's words shone a light straight into his confused mind. He realized that in life, he had been trying to cram too much in: work, goals, expectations, and anxieties about the future. There was no room left for peace, no space to truly be present in the moment. The master continued, "Letting go does not mean giving up everything, but knowing how to choose and leave room for your soul to be open. When your mind is refreshed, everything becomes clearer and brighter." Through the story of the teacup, Michael understood that to live fully in the present, one must first learn to release unnecessary attachments and worries. He began practicing meditation with the master, focusing on his breath and fully experiencing each moment so his mind would no longer be overwhelmed by chaotic thoughts. Over time, Michael felt a clear transformation within himself. His mind became calmer, anxieties about the future faded away, replaced by a simple serenity and happiness. He no longer got swept away by life's rush, but knew how to pause, listen, and appreciate each precious moment. The guest and the surprising cup of tea is not just a simple illustration of Zen philosophy, but a profound lesson about knowing how to let go in order to receive. It reminds us that to welcome wisdom and peace, we must first empty the cup of our minds, creating an open space ready for new things. This story invites viewers to reflect on how they are filling the teacup of their own minds. Are they holding too many worries, anxieties, or unseen sadness? And have they learned how to let go to live more mindfully in every moment? The story ends with Michael leaving the monastery with a lighter heart and a refreshed teacup, ready for new experiences on his path to awakening. This simple Zen story carries immense transformative power. It reminds us that the wisdom of the awakened begins with letting go and fully living each moment in the present. For point 3, modern story. A busy person learns to stop and truly see life. John is a senior manager at a multinational company in London, a man who constantly rushes between meetings, endless emails. Moments with family, friends, or even inner peace became vague and distant. One afternoon, while standing in an elevator with a colleague, John looked out the glass door and noticed how beautiful the sunset was. Suddenly, he felt a pang of emptiness, realizing he had never truly stopped to see the life around him. A close friend introduced John to a mindfulness and meditation course at a meditation center on the outskirts of the city. At first, John was skeptical about spending time sitting quietly, focusing on his breath while so many tasks awaited. But he decided to try, hoping to find a bit of peace in his heart. On the first day at the center, John was guided to practice simple mindfulness, focusing on each breath, observing thoughts and sensations as they appeared without judgment or trying to change them. At first, his mind wandered, worries about work and life flooded in. But with patience and the teacher's guidance, John began to notice a difference, a quiet space opening within his soul, a resting place amid the chaos. Through daily meditation and mindfulness practice, John learned to stop, not just physically pausing but halting thoughts and emotions to be fully present with what was happening inside and around him. He realized that life isn't a relentless race, but a series of precious moments that can only be fully felt when we are awake and attentive. One important lesson John gained was how to master his attention and emotions. Instead of letting his mind be pulled by thoughts of the past or worries about the future, these seemingly small things became vivid and meaningful when received with mindfulness. John also realized that excessive busyness is not a sign of true success or happiness. It is in moments of stillness, in stopping to observe and feel, that life becomes richer, energy balances, stress reduces, and creativity flourishes. John's story is a clear testament to the power of mindfulness and awareness in the modern world. It reminds viewers that no matter how busy or pressured life gets, we can learn to stop, open our eyes to the simple yet precious things around us, and find true peace and meaning. John's journey is not over, but step by step he moves closer to inner freedom and genuine happiness, values that cannot be measured by achievements or money, but only felt by living fully in each present moment. This story inspires viewers to dare to change, to temporarily set aside endless busyness, make time for themselves, learn to slow down, look deeper, and cherish every moment in today's fast-paced life. 4.4. Transformative lesson: practicing mindfulness in work and family life. In today's fast-paced and high-pressure life, Work and family often take up most of our time and attention. Maintaining mindfulness in both these areas not only helps us balance life, but is also the key to building lasting, happy, and more effective relationships. However, practicing mindfulness in work and family settings is not always easy, as stress, desires, and demands from both sides can easily pull us away from inner calm. Mindfulness at work means being fully present with the tasks at hand, concentrating completely without the mind being distracted by worries or wandering thoughts. When we work mindfully, every action becomes more meaningful, helping improve efficiency and reduce mistakes. More importantly, mindfulness helps us become aware of our emotions when facing difficulties or pressure, allowing us to respond calmly and skillfully rather than getting swept up in negativity or stress. For example, during an important meeting, instead of letting the mind drift to other projects or personal matters, we focus fully on every conversation and opinion shared. This focus not only helps us absorb information better, but also shows respect to colleagues, building a harmonious and productive work environment. In the family context, mindfulness is even more crucial as each member may be busy with work, studies, or personal concerns. Practicing mindfulness here means not only spending quality time together, but truly being present in those moments. When eating with family, instead of eating while checking phones or thinking about work, we give our full attention to those around us, listen to their stories, and feel the warmth of family. Another important lesson of mindfulness in the family is learning to listen deeply and without judgment. When someone shares emotions or difficulties, giving undivided, silent attention makes them feel understood and loved, strengthening family bonds. Mindfulness practice also includes observing ourselves when feelings like anger, frustration, or disappointment arise during stressful situations. Instead of reacting immediately, we learn to recognize these emotions, breathe deeply, keep the mind steady, and then choose a conscious and appropriate response. This helps minimize unnecessary conflicts and maintain harmony both at home and at work. Additionally, mindfulness helps us recognize negative habits or deeply ingrained automatic behaviors. When we can observe ourselves with compassion and without judgment, we can positively change these habits, improving the quality of life and relationships. Some mindfulness techniques for work and family include short meditation breaks. Take a few minutes to focus on breathing, helping recharge energy and regain calmness. Heartfelt listening. When conversing, focus on not just words, but also the emotions and tone of the other person. Pause before reacting. An image to live more fully. Practicing mindfulness not only reduces stress and increases satisfaction in work and family life, but also creates a healthy environment that nurtures spiritual and emotional growth for ourselves and those around us. Maintaining mindfulness is both a great challenge and an opportunity to cultivate patience, awareness, and self-control. In short, mindfulness in work and family is not just a technique, but a lifestyle, a way to keep our minds peaceful and clear amid life's constant changes. When we practice mindfulness in these two essential environments, we not only master ourselves, but also create a positive influence that spreads to everyone around us, contributing to a more fulfilling and meaningful life. Part 5. The Unattached Mind, Transcending Anger and Affliction. 5.1. Analysis of afflictions and the mind of anger in Zen. In Zen philosophy, afflictions and the mind of anger are seen as the root causes that bind people within the cycle of suffering and unrest. Afflictions are inner disturbances, unstable mental states caused by negative emotions such as anger, resentment, jealousy, hatred, anxiety, or fear. The mind of anger, one of the primary afflictions, is understood as the heat of anger, frustration, and hatred that arise when one cannot accept reality or feels hurt. From the Zen perspective, afflictions are not just fleeting emotions but deep wounds in the mind that obscure clarity and awakening within each individual. The mind of anger is like a fierce fire that burns away inner peace and causes us to act blindly, harming both ourselves and those around us. Zen teaches that these mental states are not inherent to human nature, but are psychological habits formed over time through thoughts, perspectives, and unconscious reactions to life. Therefore, to the desire for satisfaction or recognition, When these expectations are unmet, anger naturally emerges as a mental defense to protect the self from feeling wounded. Understanding the mechanisms that give rise to afflictions frees us from blindly being controlled by them. Instead, we observe these states objectively and without judgment. This awareness opens the way for letting go and transformation, allowing the mind to become freer, lighter, and unburdened by anger or afflictions. An important aspect of Zen is the practice of non-judgmental observation, learning to watch the mind as anger or afflictions arise without getting caught up, without trying to suppress or reject them. Through this, we realize the temporary and impermanent nature of these emotions and see clearly that they are not our true selves. The mind of anger in Zen is also likened to a veil covering the light of wisdom. When anger dominates, we easily fall into blindness, acting emotionally rather than rationally, causing negative consequences for ourselves and our environment. Conversely, when we transform anger into compassion and tolerance, the mind becomes clearer and more open. Zen also emphasizes cultivating compassion as an important means to overcome anger. When we truly feel connected with others, hatred gradually gives way to forgiveness and love. This is the crucial point that frees the mind from attachments, opening the path to awakening and inner peace. Furthermore, in spiritual practice, Zen encourages continuous self-reflection and deep understanding of one's psychological aspects, thereby recognizing signs of afflictions and anger as they appear in daily life. Zen also employs many methods to help transform afflictions and anger, such as meditation, mindfulness, internal dialogue, and walking meditation. Meditation stabilizes the mind, reduces automatic negative reactions, and increases the ability to observe oneself more clearly. Mindfulness maintains clear awareness moment by moment, making it easier to detect and handle negative emotions at their onset. In Zen scriptures, many stories illustrate how Zen masters overcame anger and afflictions through awareness and compassion. These stories serve not only as teachings, but also as powerful inspiration for practitioners, helping them realize that even in difficult circumstances or when facing the strongest negative emotions, mindful practice and compassion, each person can transcend the bonds of anger and afflictions, moving closer to true serenity and enlightenment. This is one of the core essences of Zen wisdom, the wisdom of the awakened mind. 5.2. Peaceful mind amid the storm. A Zen story of stillness and crisis. In a small coastal town in southern Italy lived a Zen master named Matteo, renowned not only for his profound wisdom, but also for his rare and abiding peace amid life's turbulence. Matteo lived simply in a small house by the sea, where each wave crashing ashore reminded him of life's constant change. One day, as a great storm approached the town, the villagers fell into panic and fear. The wind howled fiercely, the rain poured relentlessly, and everything seemed uncontrollable and chaotic. People rushed to secure their homes and seek shelter, but inside, anxiety and worry weighed heavily on everyone's hearts. Instead of fleeing or panicking, Matteo sat by the window facing the sea, his eyes gently closed, his breath slow and deep, harmonizing with the rhythm of nature. He neither denied the storm nor resisted it. Rather, he accepted the undeniable truth that storms are an inseparable part of life. This acceptance created a profound inner strength that allowed him to maintain absolute calm. A young villager named Elena, overwhelmed by the storm and the potential damage, sought Matteo's guidance. She confessed her fears and anger about the hardship she faced and admitted feeling out of control in the face of such great challenges. Matteo smiled kindly and shared with Elena a classic Zen story about a small boat on the vast ocean. Though tiny, if the boat knows how to balance and adjust its sails to the wind, it can survive the fiercest waves without sinking. Similarly, the human mind, if it can hold peace and mindfulness, will not be swept away by anger and afflictions, no matter how many challenges and upheavals come from the outside. He explained that peace of mind does not mean the absence of difficulty, but the ability to keep stillness within despite external chaos. A mind free from anger and afflictions becomes a steadfast refuge, helping one navigate through life's storms. Elena began practicing Matteo's teachings by focusing on her breath and observing her emotions as they arose without judgment or resistance. She realized that when she tried to fight fear or anger, those feelings only grew stronger. But when she accepted and let go, a miraculous lightness came, and her mind became clearer and more peaceful. As the days passed and the storm subsided, Elena learned to befriend change and uncertainty, no longer fearing life's fluctuations. The story of Matteo and Elena is not only a vivid testament to Zen wisdom, but also a profound reminder that within each of us lies a hidden peaceful mind, a solid refuge amidst life's storms. As long as we know how to return to ourselves, accept, and let go, no matter how many challenges life brings, our soul can remain serene and free. This story powerfully inspires everyone, especially in today's fast-changing and stressful world, to face difficulties with stillness, mindfulness, and compassion, the core qualities of the awakened wisdom in Zen. 5.3. The Power of Calm. A businessman's journey through anger and stress. In the bustling, ever-moving city of New York, there lived a businessman named Ethan. He was the CEO of a rapidly growing tech company. But along with success came relentless pressure, from leading his team, meeting shareholder expectations, to managing unexpected crises. Every day for Ethan was a string of tense meetings, quick decisions, and constant conflicts. However, beneath the successful and strong exterior, Ethan struggled with an invisible enemy, rising anger and stress. Whenever the pressure mounted, he would easily become irritable and lose control, which affected not only his health, but also strained his relationships with colleagues and family. One late afternoon, sitting alone in his empty office, Ethan realized he was no longer the person he wanted to be. The stress and anger were like invisible chains binding his mind and heart, robbing him of the clarity and patience needed to steer the ship of his career. That was when he began searching for a different path, a new approach to free himself from the whirlwind of negative emotions. Through a friend, Ethan was introduced to meditation and Zen philosophy, a timeless method with the power to soothe the mind and restore inner peace. At first, he was skeptical because modern life was so busy and stressful. Could meditation really be the answer? But with persistence and a bit of curiosity, Ethan started his first meditation sessions in his small apartment, just a few minutes each day. Throughout his learning and practice, Ethan gradually realized that anger and stress were not enemies, but signals from his mind that he was out of balance and needed attention. Instead of running from or suppressing his emotions, he learned to observe them with mindfulness and compassion. Whenever anger arose, instead of reacting impulsively, Ethan focused on his breath, creating a space between emotion and action, helping himself not get swept away by the storm of feelings. One small story from Ethan's journey was when he faced a heated debate at work. Instead of losing his temper and arguing, he applied meditation and mindfulness techniques to stay calm, deeply listen to the other side's viewpoint, and respond with understanding rather than anger. The result not only made the meeting more effective, but also built trust and respect among team members. Ethan's journey was not without challenges and setbacks, but he learned that letting go of the expectation to be perfect and accepting limitations was an important part of growth. He began applying meditation not only at work, but also in his family life, dedicating real time to listen and empathize with his wife and children, thus building stronger, loving relationships. Through Ethan's story, we see the power of Zen wisdom in helping people master their emotions, overcome anger and pressure, and not only improve their quality of life, but also open the path to freedom and inner peace. In today's fast-changing, competitive world, lessons on letting go, mindfulness, and compassion are more valuable than ever. This story is not only a reminder that calmness and wisdom can be cultivated, but also an inspiration for everyone to dare to change, to face and transform inner challenges, and to live a life that is fulfilling, meaningful, and truly free. Part 6. Absolute and Relative Truth. Embracing Life's Multiple Perspectives. 6.1. Explaining absolute and relative truth in Zen. In Zen philosophy, one of the most fundamental and profound concepts is the distinction between absolute truth and relative truth. This is not just an abstract philosophical topic, but a guiding principle that helps people deeply understand the nature of life and develop awakened wisdom, the wisdom of one who has truly awakened. Absolute truth, in the Zen spirit, is the perspective that transcends all appearances, forms, and limitations of the phenomenal world. It is the ultimate, formless, invisible essence that is not influenced by time, space, or any condition. This is the deepest, most profound truth that wisdom can directly perceive, beyond all analysis and language. Absolute truth cannot be expressed in words because language and thought are based on dualistic distinctions, right or wrong, good or bad, existence or non-existence, which do not apply to the absolute reality. On the other hand, relative truth is the reality we encounter daily through our senses and perceptions. It is the diverse world of images, events, people, and relationships, where everything is impermanent, interdependent, and interconnected. Relative truth is the realm where we live, work, and interact. All perspectives, values, and understandings belong to this relative sphere, dependent on specific time, place, and context. Zen teaches that absolute and relative truths are not two separate entities, but two inseparable aspects of the same reality. Absolute truth is like the vast space that contains everything, while relative truth is the countless forms within that space. Recognizing and living in harmony with both aspects is a core part of awakened wisdom. A simple everyday example to illustrate this is the image of a wave on the ocean. The wave is a distinct phenomenon, with its own shape, height, and movement. This represents relative truth. But if we look deeper, the wave cannot be separated from the vast ocean, which can be seen as absolute truth. The wave and the ocean are not two separate things, but two aspects of the same entity. The ocean is the vast space, and the wave is a lively expression within it. Understanding absolute and relative truths helps people let go of attachments to fixed views, personal ego, or prejudices. When one clearly recognizes that all things and events are temporary, changing, and interdependent, one is no longer bound by negative emotions such as anger, greed, or fear. Instead, one can live with an open, compassionate, and wise heart. In Zen meditation practice, practitioners are encouraged not to stop at theoretical understanding, but to directly experience the harmony between these two truths. Through moments of mindfulness, meditators see the impermanent nature of all phenomena, the relative truth, but simultaneously feel the profound depth of unchanging existence, the absolute truth. This is a crucial turning point that helps people break free from the cycle of suffering and move closer to enlightenment. Moreover, this distinction also helps us understand that no absolute viewpoint exists in the relative world. Every person, culture, and era has its own perspective, which is neither absolutely right nor wrong, but simply expressions of relative truth according to specific circumstances. Thus, the awakened person learns to appreciate diversity and respect others' views without imposing or being rigid. In modern life, applying wisdom about absolute and relative truths helps maintain balance between reason and spirituality, action and mindfulness, individual and community. We can live fully with responsibilities and relationships in the relative world while preserving inner peace and freedom grounded in the understanding of absolute reality. In summary, Zen wisdom about absolute and relative truth is not just a profound philosophical concept, but an effective tool that helps people overcome all attachments, expand their awareness, and live an awakened, peaceful, and free life. Through this, they stopped beside a massive old tree with a dense canopy stretching high into the clear blue sky. This tree was not just a natural symbol, but seemed to hold a story about life and time itself. Michael looked at the tree and saw in it a powerful life force, a testament to perseverance and endurance through countless years. He said to Daniel, "This tree symbolizes the resilience and inner strength we need to overcome all challenges in life." Meanwhile, Daniel saw a very different picture. He noticed the yellow leaves scattered on the ground, the broken branches, and the cracked bark. Daniel said, "To me, this tree shows the signs of change, of endings and beginnings." Michael saw permanence, Daniel saw change. These two seemingly contradictory perspectives complemented each other, forming a full picture of life's multidimensional truth. The story, Two People Looking at One Tree, is more than just a Zen tale. It is a profound lesson on how we perceive reality. It reminds us that truth is not always simple or singular. Each person interprets and experiences the world based on their own experiences, circumstances, and mindset. In Zen philosophy, recognizing and accepting diversity in perception is a crucial step on the path of wisdom. When we understand that no viewpoint is absolute, it becomes easier to release prejudices and attachments, opening our hearts to embrace differences with compassion. This also reflects an important aspect of relative truth in Zen. Every phenomenon can be seen from multiple angles, each holding a part of the truth. Understanding and accepting this helps us live more harmoniously with ourselves and with others. Returning to Michael and Daniel, the story of the old tree became a symbol of harmony between opposing but not conflicting views. They learned to listen to each other without trying to convince or reject, deepening and enriching their friendship. On life's journey, each of us encounters old trees, realities, events, or people that offer opportunities to practice multidimensional perception and expand wisdom. By pausing, observing carefully, and placing ourselves in others' shoes, we realize that truth can be both one and many. From this story, the transformative lesson for the awakened is to remain open to new perspectives, avoid clinging to a single truth, and accept the diversity and fluidity of reality. This flexibility in thought and spirit enables us to live peacefully and freely in a complex, ever-changing world. This lesson also fosters tolerance and compassion, essential virtues on anyone's Zen path to enlightenment. When we understand that everyone has their own journey, experiences, and personal truths, we are less likely to judge or exclude and more likely to respond with deep empathy. The story, Two People Looking at One Tree, is vivid and relatable, making it easy for listeners to connect with their own lives and relationships. It is a gentle yet powerful reminder of the power of perception and how we can transform our lives through changes in viewpoint and mindset. Ultimately, the message of this Zen story is not only that truth has many facets, but also a call for each of us to become awakened, those who observe with open hearts and clear minds, to find harmony and peace in every moment of life. 6.3. Modern Story. When Truth Has More Than One Perspective, the Journey of a Journalist. In the heart of a bustling modern city, where life moves fast and news spreads by the second, there was a journalist named Emma Thompson. Emma had worked many years in journalism, covering countless events and multifaceted stories. But she never truly grasped the complexity of truth until she faced a deeply controversial event. The event was a large-scale protest in her city, revolving around a sensitive social issue concerning the rights of minority communities. At first, Emma was assigned to report from the official perspective of the authorities, and she believed she was delivering the most objective truth possible. However, as she gathered information and interviewed the protesters, Emma began to realize things were not as simple as she thought. The protesters had painful stories, unheard voices, and valid reasons to stand up for justice. At the same time, the authorities also faced their own pressures and reasons for their actions. Emma felt confused confronting two opposing truths, both grounded and weighty. She began to understand that truth is neither simple nor singular. It is always diverse and dependent on each person's viewpoint, experience, and circumstances. This realization changed Emma's approach to her work. Instead of presenting only one narrative, she decided to create a multidimensional report reflecting different perspectives, from protesters, authorities, local residents, to social experts. She wanted viewers to sense, evaluate, and better understand the complexity of the issue. This process was not easy, as Emma faced pressure from her superiors and the public. Some accused her of bias or diluting information, but Emma believed genuine truth must be seen comprehensively, and that a journalist's role is not just to tell stories, but to be a bridge allowing all voices to be heard. Emma's story vividly illustrates the Zen philosophy of absolute and relative truth. In modern life, truth is no longer a flat mirror reflecting a single image, but more like a colorful mosaic, where each person's viewpoint reveals a different part. Through this experience, Emma also transformed her perception of herself and the world. She learned the lesson of humility and understanding, that no one can hold the entire truth, and everyone needs to open their heart sincerely to differences. This is also a precious lesson for the awakened in today's information age, not to rush to conclusions or judgments based on narrow views, but to always seek depth and multidimensionality in every issue. For it is the expansion of perspective and compassion that helps us truly understand life's essence and live in harmony with a changing reality. Emma's story closes with her sitting by a window, looking out at the city at night, lights flickering like pieces of many stories, many truths. In her heart came peace from accepting that life is never a simple story, and awakened wisdom is the ability to live serenely among those diverse fragments. The message of this story is not only that truth has many faces, but also a call for each of us to become mindful observers, willing to listen and understand with an open heart, thus finding freedom and harmony in this complex, multidimensional world. 6.4. Transformation Lesson: Open-mindedness and Tolerance. In today's ever-changing, pressured, and information-rich life, maintaining an open mind and a tolerant heart becomes an essential life skill, especially for those on the journey seeking wisdom and awakening. Open-mindedness is not merely the ability to accept different opinions, but a mental state that allows us to perceive things with curiosity, understanding, and without hasty judgment. An open heart frees us from the constraints of prejudice, bias, or rigid beliefs. This is especially important in today's social context, where opposing viewpoints and conflicting information constantly appear on social media and other communication channels. Without the ability to discern and process information wisely, we easily fall into cycles of psychological and emotional conflict, even prolonged stress. Tolerance extends beyond just accepting others. It involves deep empathy for their circumstances, choices, and mistakes. When we are tolerant of both ourselves and others, we create a peaceful inner space where connection and understanding can naturally flourish, unhindered by judgment or demands for perfection. Open-mindedness and tolerance also form the foundation for embracing the multidimensional nature of truth, a core teaching in Zen. As illustrated in the story, two people looking at one tree. Understanding that each person perceives the same object differently enriches our awareness and helps us practice compassion when encountering diverse perspectives in life. On the path of practice, open-mindedness and tolerance are nurtured through continuous self-observation, recognizing when we become caught in rigid thoughts, prejudices, or negative emotions such as anger, fear, or envy. Through meditation and mindfulness, we gradually learn to step back from these feelings, not letting them dictate our actions or reactions. Furthermore, learning from Zen stories and real-life experiences teaches us that everyone has unique circumstances and reasons for their behavior. Opening our hearts to understand and forgive is not only a gift to others, but also a way to free ourselves from the burdens of hatred and resentment. Another vital lesson is patience. Open-mindedness and tolerance are not instant achievements, but qualities cultivated day by day, moment by moment. When facing communication challenges or disagreements, we should refrain from reacting impulsively and instead take time to observe, listen, and reflect more deeply. On a broader social scale, open-mindedness and tolerance contribute to building harmonious communities, reducing conflicts, and fostering environments that respect cultural, ideological, and lifestyle diversity. Awakened individuals with clear minds and open hearts are the seeds that nurture a sustainable, thriving, and loving society. Ultimately, this transformation lesson reminds us that wisdom is not just knowledge or theory, but the flexible ability to respond skillfully, knowing how to open our hearts to receive and transform whatever life presents. Open-mindedness and tolerance are not just destinations, but essential tools on the path of awakening and finding peace. Start from the smallest acts, listening without interrupting or judging, trying to put yourself in another's shoes to better understand, and most importantly, forgiving yourself when you fall short. In doing so, you will find your heart lighter, your wisdom clearer, and your life richer and more meaningful with each passing day. With open-mindedness and tolerance, the awakened person knows how to maintain inner freedom, no matter how turbulent and challenging the outside world may be. This is living wisdom, a priceless treasure that everyone can unlock with persistent practice on the Zen path and mindful presence in every moment. Part 7. Action without attachment, Zen in modern life. 7.1. The meaning of acting without attachment to results. In the journey of practicing and embodying Zen wisdom, this is not indifference or neglect of responsibility, but a profound and subtle attitude of the awakened toward what they do. In modern society, people often get caught in the whirlwind of success, failure, fame, money, and external recognition, pouring all their effort and passion into achieving goals along with great expectations about results causes many to fall into stress, anxiety, and even suffering when things don't go as planned. In contrast, the attitude of acting without attachment is like a refreshing breeze helping us return to inner freedom and peace unaffected by external fluctuations. The meaning of acting without attachment in Zen lies not only in not clinging to success or failure, but also reflects a deep understanding of the impermanent nature of all things and phenomena. When we realize that everything is impermanent and constantly changing, clinging to a specific result becomes unreasonable and unhelpful. Instead, we focus fully on the process. Appreciate every step and effort in the present without being caught up in a vague future or the past. Practicing acting without attachment helps balance the mind, freeing it from negative emotions like disappointment, discouragement, or excessive excitement over success. Rather than becoming a slave to results, the awakened maintain initiative, awareness, and clarity in all circumstances. They know every action, big or small, is part of life's flow and contributes to ongoing causes and conditions, inseparable from each other. This concept is also closely linked with the Buddhist teaching of non-self, where the self, the desire to control, possess, and claim results, is recognized as the source of suffering and distress. When acting without attachment, the practitioner does not let the ego control but instead harmonizes with the natural flow of life, neither resisting nor grasping. Applying acting without attachment in modern life is not easy, since the surrounding environment constantly urges us to achieve results and prove our value through outcomes. However, through perseverance and the practice of meditation and mindfulness, we can gradually shift our perspective and habits. When working, instead of focusing only on the final result, we learn to cherish the process, the effort, and the true meaning of each action. For example, in creative work, an artist dedicates their heart and soul to producing beautiful, inspiring works, but does not depend on whether the work is commercially successful or widely recognized. They create for the joy of expression and the soul's elevation. This is an embodiment of acting without attachment. Moreover, in social or family relationships, acting without attachment means loving and caring sincerely without binding others to reciprocate as we wish. Love and care become purer and freer, unconditioned by expectations or demands. From a psychological perspective, this attitude helps reduce pressure, worry, and insecurity while boosting confidence and clarity. When we know how to let go of clinging to results, the mind becomes lighter and more receptive to change and new challenges. This also fosters creativity and personal growth, unhindered by fear of failure or excessive ambition. In summary, acting without attachment is a Zen essence that helps practitioners transcend the ego's bonds and live harmoniously with reality. It is a path leading to inner freedom, true peace, and awareness in every moment of life. Practicing this concept not only lessens suffering, but opens the door to living more fully, meaningfully, and deeply. It invites each of us to put our heart into every action without allowing demands or expectations to control us, so we can discover our own peace and genuine wisdom amid a constantly changing world. 7.2. Zen Story: The Blacksmith and the Unbreakable Sword. In a small village deep within the remote mountains of Japan, there lived a blacksmith named Kinji, renowned for his skill in forging sharp, resilient swords coveted by every warrior. Kinji was not just an ordinary craftsman, but a master of subtlety, someone who understood every breath, every rhythm of fire and steel. One day, a wealthy samurai from the city came to Kenji, requesting a supreme sword in preparation for an upcoming battle. He offered a large sum and demanded an unbreakable sword, a weapon that could never be destroyed or fail on the battlefield. Kenji agreed and began the forging process. Day after day, Kenji worked with complete focus, feeling every layer of steel, every contour of the sword forming in the blazing fire. Yet, deep inside, a question lingered. Could such an unbreakable sword truly exist? He recalled the teaching of a Zen monk. The sharpest sword is the one that is unattached to its success or failure. Throughout forging, Kenji realized that the obsession and expectation of creating a perfect sword were forms of attachment. If he clung too tightly to the outcome, not only would the sword bear a heavy burden, but his spirit would be trapped in anxiety and fear. He began practicing the attitude of working without attachment, fully immersing himself in each strike of the hammer and every moment of the fire. When the samurai tested the sword in battle, he achieved glorious victory. More importantly, he understood that unbreakable was not about the sword itself but the mindset and spirit of its wielder. The story of the blacksmith and the unbreakable sword is more than just a tale of skill or a material object. It is a profound lesson on how to live and act in the Zen spirit. It reminds us that perfection does not come from the end result, but from wholehearted engagement in the journey, from letting go of attachments to success or failure. In modern life, we are all like Kenji, facing pressures, expectations, and personal or professional goals. Learning to act without attachment is the key to freeing ourselves from mental burdens, living fully in each moment, and attaining peace of mind. This story powerfully inspires viewers about the strength of an awakened mind, trusting in the process rather than the result, and awakening to the truth that true freedom lies in letting go and accepting impermanence. Through the image of the blacksmith and the sword, we learn that every action, every task, big or small, when done with a non-attached attitude, can become a path toward awakening and genuine happiness. Above all, only then can we truly experience the ease, peace, and deep wisdom that Zen imparts. 7.3 Modern Story. The athlete and the competition of the awakened mind. In the highly competitive and pressure-filled world of professional sports, the story of Ethan, a young American long-distance runner, becomes a profound inspiration for the Zen spirit in modern life. Ethan stands out not only for his technique and achievements, but also for his completely different attitude toward competition. Calm, clear-minded, and free from attachment to winning or losing. His journey is a vivid demonstration of applying Zen wisdom to life and sports, fundamentally changing the perception of success and the meaning of effort. From a young age, Ethan was a boy full of dreams and ambitions, but also burdened by many pressures from family and society. Expectations to win, to be the best, weighed heavily on his shoulders. Every race, Ethan met an elderly Zen monk living in seclusion deep in the mountains. The monk did not teach him running techniques or how to improve physical strength, but offered a simple yet profound lesson. Run without running, win without attachment to winning, lose without fear of losing. The monk showed Ethan how to live fully in the present moment, to fully accept everything without being swayed by expectations or fears. From then on, Ethan began practicing mindfulness and meditation. Every day, he devoted time to focusing on his breath and observing his emotions without trying to change or react to them. He learned to see anxiety and tension as passing clouds drifting through the sky of his mind, without clinging to them. This did not diminish his determination, but helped him compete with greater confidence and calmness than ever before. In an important international marathon race, the true victory was mastering himself, overcoming attachments and anxieties that often cloud other athletes' minds. Ethan's story has spread powerfully through the sports community and among those struggling with the pressures of modern life. He became a model for a way of competing and living that is not dominated by results, but focused on the journey and the present moment. Many young athletes follow Ethan's mindfulness and meditation methods, realizing that sustainable success comes not from stress and clinging to outcomes, but from awareness and letting go. Moreover, When we are not bound by unrealistic expectations, our minds open up, ready to receive new experiences, and we live more fully and happily. In delusion, the root causes of suffering. Instead of fighting the world, the awakened person fights the attachments within their own mind and thus finds inner freedom. For Ethan's journey is a vivid testament to the power of mindfulness in modern life, where people easily get caught in endless pressure and attachments. He inspires everyone that the greatest victory is not an external result, but mastering the mind and living fully in each moment without being trapped by attachments. That is the path of the awakened one, a never-ending competition, but full of freedom and peace. 7.4. Transformative lesson. Practicing mindful action and letting go of expectations to find true freedom. In today's fast-paced and ever-changing world, maintaining a state of mindfulness in our actions while simultaneously releasing all expectations about outcomes is not only a profound philosophical lesson, but also an essential skill that helps us reserve inner peace and freedom. This is the essence of Zen in modern life, a path where the awakened person not only acts consciously, but also refuses to let desires, hopes, or fears disturb the mind's tranquility. Mindful action, in the Zen spirit, means doing everything with complete attention, undistracted by chaotic thoughts or external pressures. Holds its own value without needing to cling to results or success to feel meaningful. They learn to work and live like a natural flow, effortless, unforced, yet highly effective and creatively vibrant. Letting go of expectations is a crucial step on this journey. When we harbor expectations, whether for success, recognition, or favorable outcomes, we live under pressure, fearing failure or disappointment if things don't go our way. Expectations act like invisible chains that bind the mind, robbing us of the freedom needed to fully experience the present. Only by releasing these expectations can we truly free ourselves from the cycle of negative emotions and restlessness. A prime example is the story of Clara, a young architect living in a bustling European city. Clara was once someone who set extremely high goals for herself at work, aiming to win major projects and be recognized as a leading talent in her field. Whenever a project failed or received criticism, she felt heavy pressure, insomnia, rather than being swept away by thoughts of success or failure. The turning point came soon after. Clara continued to develop her career and took on important projects. This not only improved her effectiveness, but also enhanced her quality of life, helping her maintain better mental and physical health. Clara's story, along with Zen philosophy, teaches that when we practice mindful action coupled with letting go of expectations, we reduce unnecessary stress and open a vast space within the soul for wisdom, compassion, and creativity to flourish. We learn to live fully in the present, appreciating the process without being controlled by the outcome. In everyday life, this lesson can be applied immediately in family, work, and social relationships. For example, when caring for loved ones, acting with genuine love without expecting gratitude or reciprocation brings lightness and deeper connection. Similarly, in work, giving our best without being bound by results or recognition leads to greater productivity and less stress. Mindful action and releasing expectations are not about indifference or resignation. On the contrary, they involve full and deep engagement in life with a free spirit, unshackled by external constraints. The awakened person acts because the action itself is meaningful, not because of what the outcome will be. Through this, they find true peace and clear wisdom in every step they take. In summary, this transformative lesson invites everyone to practice living mindfully in each action while letting go of all expectations about results. This is the path to inner freedom, liberation from suffering, and a complete, peaceful life in our ever-changing modern world. Part 8. Compassion and Love, the Wisdom of the Awakened Heart. 8.1. A state of mindfulness that helps people connect authentically with themselves and the world around them. It is a clear awareness of suffering, not only one's own but that of all beings, and a natural impulse to seek liberation both for oneself and for others. Compassion is considered the heart of wisdom because it helps us understand that all phenomena are impermanent and interdependent, so attachment or resistance only increases suffering. When practicing compassion, Zen practitioners continually open their hearts to embrace even unpleasant things, injustice, and worldly suffering, without falling into clinging or hatred. This is co-arising wisdom, wisdom paired with loving kindness, intertwined in every action and thought. True compassion in Zen is the combination of profound insight into reality and unlimited empathy. Wisdom is not just theoretical understanding, but heartfelt perception, where one can see another's pain as their own and approach solutions with sincerity, free from personal bias or expectation. Compassion in Zen forms the foundation for building inner peace and social harmony. When everyone practices compassion, they not only heal their internal wounds, but also generate positive energy that helps dissolve hatred and anger, fostering genuine connection among people. As Zen masters teach, the compassionate heart is the lamp that illuminates the path to awakening. In today's stressful and pressured modern life, compassion becomes an invaluable healing power. It helps us avoid spirals of torment, anger, or indifference, instead opening new pathways filled with love and understanding. Whether at work, at home, or in society, not reliant on external conditions, but nurtured from an awakened inner heart that loves and understands every present moment. Co-arising wisdom is not ordinary knowledge, but wisdom with love, helping us recognize the profound interconnection of all beings and phenomena. This awareness urges us to live responsibly and with unconditional kindness. In the harmony of compassion and co-arising wisdom, we find the true meaning of life, where there is no longer separation between self and others, subject and object, waiting to be awakened and nurtured through each life experience and moment of mindfulness. Compassion and co-arising wisdom in Zen form a practical and challenging path. And with co-arising wisdom, they learn to maintain inner peace and inspire others to walk the path of awakening alongside them. 8.2 Zen Story: The Stranger on the Road and an Unexpected Lesson in Compassion. On a drizzly afternoon in the outskirts of Seattle, a middle-aged man named Michael was walking briskly down a narrow street, eager to get home after a long day at work. Michael was a successful financial expert, well known in his field, yet deep inside he felt loneliness, pressure, and exhaustion from the fast pace of modern life. As he turned a corner, under the dim streetlights reflecting on the raindrops, he noticed a stranger sitting curled up by the roadside. The man wore a worn-out cloak, looked thin and frail, and his trembling hands held a small plastic cup filled with water. The deep, silent eyes of the stranger seemed to hold countless untold stories. Knowing he still had many things to do at home, yet, moved by an unexplainable sense of connection, he decided to sit beside the man and pulled out a raincoat and some money from his pocket to offer him. This was not merely an act of physical help, but an opening of the heart in the present moment. The stranger looked at Michael, and a faint smile appeared on his aged face. He spoke in a gentle yet profound voice. Sometimes, simple kindness is the light that guides us through the darkest nights of life. Those words struck Michael like a flash of lightning straight into his soul. He suddenly realized that in the relentless rush of modern life, people easily forget the core values of love, empathy, and genuine connection. Michael understood that compassion does not require grand gestures, but begins with the smallest, most sincere acts born from an awakened heart. From that day on, Michael started to listen to himself more deeply, understand his inner feelings, and open his heart wider to those around him. He no longer viewed life solely through numbers, plans, or goals of success, but learned to cherish each present moment and the connections it brought. Michael's story about the stranger on the road spread widely through online communities. This story also serves as a reminder that each of us can be the stranger on someone's path, a person needing understanding, sharing, and love. Even a simple act of kindness can sow seeds of wisdom and love in everyday life, gradually transforming the world step by step. In the Zen spirit, compassion is not blind, unconditional giving, but a profound mindfulness of reality, genuine empathy, and actions emerging from a pure, unattached heart. Michael had experienced extremely stressful times, but through his encounter with the stranger, he learned to let go, slow down, and expand his soul. He gradually recognized the anger and attachments within himself and replaced them with forgiveness and tolerance. Every day, Michael practiced mindful meditation, observing his breath and feeling emotions in small, everyday acts. He also devoted time to community activities, sharing love and helping those in need. This journey transformed not only himself, but also positively influenced his family, friends, and society. The Stranger on the Road is more than a simple Zen story. Wherever you are and whatever your situation, remember that in every moment, you can be the giver or receiver of compassion. It is this connection that illuminates life, soothes pain, and brings true meaning to each of us. 8.3. The moving story of Dr. James. When love saves an entire community. Dr. James Turner is a renowned surgeon in Chicago, USA. James always maintains a calm and loving attitude, like a Zen practitioner in the midst of a bustling city. One day, during his hospital shift, James received an emergency case from a slum area near the city center. A group of people had been severely injured in a fire at a temporary shelter. Many victims suffered not only physical injuries, but also deep emotional pain from losing loved ones, homes, and their futures. Without hesitation, inspiring many to change their approach to work and life. Many patients were not only saved, but awakened spiritually, learning to love themselves and others more deeply. He regularly organized meditation sessions and mindfulness training for hospital staff, helping them reduce stress, increase focus, and deeply understand their roles in caring for people. These practices became bright spots amid the work pressure, helping healthcare workers maintain inner peace. Through James's journey, we clearly see the transformative power of Zen wisdom combined with compassion. It is not just book knowledge but living practice, helping people face suffering with equanimity, heal wounds with sincere love, and enhance community well-being. James believes everyone has the ability to cultivate the wisdom of the heart, as long as they know how to pause, listen, and open their hearts. From small acts like a smile or a sincere inquiry to larger deeds like healing and supporting others, all contribute to ongoing positive change. Dr. James's story is a vivid testimony to Zen's philosophy of compassion and wisdom walking together, a guiding light for those who want to live mindfully and lovingly in a challenging modern world. When love becomes the energy behind our actions, all barriers and suffering seem to dissolve, making way for true peace and happiness. And that is the message each of us can learn from this simple yet powerful story. 8.4. Transformational lesson. Cultivating compassion in everyday relationships. Compassion is not an abstract concept reserved only for monks or those living in monasteries. It is an essential life energy that can be nurtured and practiced in every moment of daily life. Cultivating compassion in relationships is a journey that not only brings peace to ourselves, but also helps build deep and sincere connections with those around us. Conflicts, misunderstandings, and feelings of loneliness occur frequently. At such times, compassion becomes a guiding light, helping us see others with loving eyes instead of judgment or anger. A young couple living in New York. Both are busy with stressful jobs, spending little time together. Conflicts arise from small matters. Who will take care of the child? Who has to work overtime? Or careless words that hurt. Instead of letting anger linger, Anna began applying lessons of compassion in her life. She tried to listen to Mark without reacting immediately, striving to understand the pressures he was under. Gradually, with patience and love, they rediscovered deep connection and rebuilt trust. It is the courage to look honestly at our own and others' weaknesses and mistakes, and choose to respond with tolerance. Compassion is also the ability to keep the soul bright, helping someone in difficulty. These seemingly simple acts are seeds of compassion, gradually nurtured into a garden of love and understanding. When compassion becomes part of life, it not only strengthens personal relationships, but also creates a positive community where people appreciate and support each other. This is the transformation from a small self toward greater openness and deeper connection with the world around us. Moreover, cultivating compassion helps reduce stress and anxiety, bringing more stable mental health. Modern scientific research also shows that practicing compassion can activate brain regions related to positive emotions, improve stress management. And each day is an opportunity to practice loving kindness and forgiveness. That is the path toward full awakening, where wisdom and the heart unite harmoniously. You can start today. Ultimately, cultivating compassion is not only a way to live better, but also a method to deeply feel the meaning of life, sensing the sacred connection between yourself and everyone around you. Conclusion: the never-ending journey of the awakened one. The journey of the awakened mind is not a fixed destination, but a long path, a continuous and endless journey. Throughout the script, non-attachment and action, and finally compassion and loving kindness. Each lesson, each story is a precious gem that illuminates our own path, guiding us toward inner peace and freedom. The first essential truth to remember is impermanence, the reality of constant change in all things. Accepting impermanence does not make us weak or fearful. On the contrary, it helps us live more flexibly, appreciating every moment. When we understand that everything changes, we can let go of attachments that cause suffering, thus freeing ourselves to open our hearts to life. Letting go is an act of liberation, not complete abandonment, but releasing what does not belong to us, mistaken ideas, negative emotions. The story of the Zen master and the broken bowl teaches us that perfection does not lie in material things or appearances, but in acceptance and love for everything that happens with a gentle. Mindfulness is not a difficult or rigid task, but paying attention at the right time and place, listening to every breath, feeling every heartbeat, and fully embracing everything. The guest and the teacup taught us a precious lesson. Sometimes, what matters most is not where we go or what we do, but the attentiveness and presence in that very moment. A mind free from attachment, overcoming anger and affliction, is the next step on the path of awakening. Afflictions are not enemies but challenges that teach us to observe, understand. Absolute and relative truths teach us to see life from multiple perspectives. There is no single absolute truth. Each person, each viewpoint contributes to a rich, complete picture. Non-attachment in action, doing without clinging to the result, teaches us to live more lightly, releasing the burdens created by ambition or social pressure. The blacksmith and the sword clearly illustrated this spirit, acting with focus and calmness, not being caught up in outcomes, but simply doing each task with a peaceful soul. The stranger on the road and the doctor saving lives with love are vivid examples of compassion's transformative power. Each Zen story in this script ends openly. Zen stories are not just ancient traditions, but guiding lights for anyone wishing to live consciously and fully in the modern world. Patience with ourselves and others, gratitude for every experience, whether challenge or joy. This journey will not always be easy. There will be moments of stumbling, discouragement, or losing direction. But never forget that precisely in those moments, wisdom and compassion will help us rise and move forward stronger. Every time we awaken, every time we let go of an attachment, we come closer to true freedom, freedom in our soul and profound peace. Remember, the wisdom of the awakened one is neither distant nor mysterious. It can be you, in every present moment, in every breath, in every small but meaningful action. Anyone can be awakened, just by choosing and taking one determined step. Finally, I sincerely encourage you, start today with patience and love. Let these Zen stories be the light that guides you on your path to growth and liberation. The never-ending journey of the awakened one awaits your step, so together we can build a life full of peace, meaning, and wholeness. This is the most precious gift that Zen wisdom offers us: freedom in the soul, peace in every moment, and boundless, unconditional love. This journey has no end. Part 4. Living in the present, mindfulness in every moment. For point 1. The meaning of mindfulness and awareness according to Zen. Mindfulness and awareness are central concepts in Zen philosophy and essential tools that help people live fully in every present moment. In today's fast-paced and stressful life, maintaining a state of mindfulness helps us avoid being swept away by hurried thoughts and worries about the past or future, thereby creating peace and clarity in each moment of presence. Awareness in Zen is not merely ordinary attention or recognition, but an expansive and profound consciousness of what is happening in the mind, body, and surrounding environment. It requires complete, undistracted focus while maintaining a non-judgmental, non-attached observational stance. In this state, every moment becomes complete and meaningful.